is possible when you believe. Anything is possible when you believe. Faith can make a mountain move when you believe. Faith can make a mountain move when you believe. Don't you know that you can change a life when you believe? Don't you know that you can change a life when you believe in yourself? In yourself. In yourself. In yourself. You're gonna make a miracle when you believe. You're gonna make a miracle. You know you're gonna make a miracle when you believe. You're gonna make a miracle. Everything you want, you got when you believe. You want it, you got it. You know everything you want, you got when you believe. You want it, you got it in yourself. In yourself. In yourself. In yourself. I believe in me. So I believe in you. We believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can't do. Nah, nah, nah. All right. I believe in me. I believe, I believe in you. Hey, we believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can't do. I believe in me. So I believe in you. We believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can't do. Nah, 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 nah. I believe in me. So I believe in you. We believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can't do.
Hey, for real, check this out. I'm believing in me, cause I'm believing in you. Smile on my face, catch my set the mood, the rest is true. Accepting you for the things in life you do. Pick and choose in the game to win, I lose. Only traveling the one way, that's up. People always say to me, give up. I never had enough in the belief where I can feel all the people feeling me. What I gotta say, what I gotta pray. Believing in living this life every single way. Got a bunch of game, but it's not a sweepstakes. Got a bunch of love versus money in the bank. Anything is possible when obstacle jump the highest obstacle. Unexpected audible or foxtrot, hopscotch. Place your feet in the right spot. Thoughts under game like the belief in me. Just continue to buy.
I believe in me. I believe in you. I believe in you. All right. Come on. Anything is possible when you believe. Anything is possible.
Good morning and welcome to our live stream celebration for this Sunday, September the 20th, 2020. I'm so glad you joined us for today's celebration. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for the way in which you, through all of this time, are still a valuable and important part of Open Heart, and you express that by joining in on Sundays, your comments, your prayers, all of the expressions and the ways in which you encourage me and encourage all of the other people who participate in this celebration to make it what it is. We have for today our theme, blessing power, and this is an opportunity for us today to concentrate on that ability that you and I have to bless those around us, to bless our situations and circumstances. And as always, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
The daily affirmation, imminent power. The power within me blesses all humankind and is forever healing all with whom I come in contact. The power within me is God, and it blesses and heals all who come near it. Silently, the work goes on, and silently, all are being helped by this inner power which is operating through me. I will give thanks that my power within is silently blessing and helping everyone to whom my thought reaches. The life within me blesses all humankind.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's Openheartspiritual Center service. I want to thank you for joining us today. Today, I'm going to start out this morning with 3 chimes, and with each chime, we're going to ohm throughout the chime, allowing yourself to just go deeper and to breathe through. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. So we're going to breathe in. And now, as we are present right here and right now in this moment, I just give thanks. I am so grateful for this day. I'm grateful to be alive in this day and to be alive in this moment, in each and every single moment. And say with me, and aha, and amen, and yes, breathing in and breathing out, waking up this morning and just being grateful for all that I have and all that's going on in, through, and around me, and knowing that the source within me is that same divine sweetness that's connected to each and every single one of us. And when I say brother and sister, I truly mean that we are truly brother and sister, whether we agree with one another or any of those types of things, but we know that the eyes that are looking at you right now, and the eyes, although I can't see you, are looking back at me, I know that we are from the same source, has its beingness within each and every single one of us. And so I'm grateful today for all that have a part in this service, this special service today, because each and every single moment is special. Celebrate each and every single moment. And so celebrating each moment today, I'm grateful for the music, for the affirmative reading, and for the message, and allow ourselves to just open up and to receive and celebrate this time here and now. And I release this right here, right now. I release it knowing that His is already wonderful, so good, and so it is.
Good morning, and these are your announcements for this Sunday, September the 20th, 2020. We want to wish a happy birthday to all of our September babies: Britannia, Mary, Joy, Erlene, Kinley, Eric, Lazora, and Cedric. Again, celebrating you this month, celebrating your appearance on earth. We give abundant thanks for each and every one of you. We look with anticipation for the fall equinox that begins on September the 22nd, the change in the season, the shift in energy, and all that it holds. This morning, I'm going to be honest. From a point of honesty, this week I've been working on the message, and it just didn't settle for me in the way that I had hoped that it would, and things continue to come and go. I know what it is I wanted to say, and things just continue to change. So this morning, I'm just going to go with it. We're talking today about blessing power. And blessing power comes from when I saw the affirmation. Sometimes I write the affirmations, other times I use affirmations that other people have created. And this daily affirmation for this month comes from the work of Ernest Holmes. And when I saw it, I was excited about it because thinking about all of the turmoil and the unrest and the chaos and the change in our routines and everything else that has taken place in the last several months, this brought me a sense of calm. This brought me a sense of peace. Our daily affirmation, the power within me blesses all humankind and is forever healing all with whom I come in contact. The power within me is God, and it blesses and heals all who come near it. Silently, the work goes on, and silently, all are being helped by this inner power which is operating through me. I will give thanks that my power is silently blessing everyone to whom my thought reaches. The life within me blesses all humankind. And for these past 2 Sundays, I've reminded us of the meaning in taking things from this to provide some understanding. I talked about in the first week about the fact that all of us have imminent power. Again, having recognized the divine presence as your guiding star of hope, assurance, and certainty, be equally certain that you recognize the universal law of mind as your servant. You have imminent power. I have imminent power. We all have imminent power. And then last week, I talked about recognizing and trusting our inner power, understanding that within us, not outside of us, but that within us is a power, the power that flows from God, the power that is God, recognizing and realizing that because we come from our metaphysical understanding that we are energy, that we are the vibration of the universe, and that it expresses in, through, and as us. And using the term or using the expression that I've seen in religion, we call it spirits. In science, we call it energy. In the streets, we call it vibes. All I'm saying is to trust it. And today, talking about blessing power. The power within me blesses all humankind and is forever healing all whom I come into contact. It is that power that is within us that allows us to bless the situations and the circumstances that we are in, allowing us to use that power, that imminent power to change where we are, to change the atmosphere. I remember hearing stories I'm thinking about 3 different spiritual teachers that I admire and that are powerful for me, having that sense of inner power and using that inner power as blessing power. Hearing about Howard Thurman, for example, and Howard Thurman could walk into a room and there was a tangible sense of calm and presence for him because Howard Thurman, one of the expressions he used to always use, how good it is to center down. And his life's work and ministry was about pointing us to that place within that allowed us to center ourselves. I remember reading a story one time about a person who was going to see a talk by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist priest who's been a powerful teacher and has offered so many lessons about living in the present moment and recognizing our power. And this person was skeptical about going there with his friend, but he went anyway. And as they were standing, waiting on the event to happen, he said all of a sudden Thich Nhat Hanh came past him and there was just something like a whoosh that came in. The friend turned around and said, "What the heck was that?" And he realized that it was that sense of presence being there, that inner power blessing, and that opportunity for blessing being there. And finally, a similar story of a person going to see Eckhart Tolle and being in the crowd and standing in line waiting for the event to happen, and all of a sudden feeling this energy behind him. And as he turned around, there was Eckhart Tolle as he was making his way into the room. I'm not talking about the fact that we have to be these grand teachers and spiritual leaders and all of that. We can, but the fact of it is that all of them, having connected to that inner power, having connected to that which is within them, they are able to change the places where they are, to bless the people who are around them, for there to be that sense, that essence for us. It reminds me of when we talk about holding space for others, the idea of holding space. And I know sometimes people have made fun when someone says, I'm holding the space for you. But what it really is about is drawing on those inner resources that are ours and using those inner resources to see and to know the truth about other people, even when they may not be able to see it themselves. Very often when they are in their low moments, very often when they find they're feeling despair, very often when it feels to them like all hope is lost and there are very few options, it's being able to stay in that moment and to know that despite the outward appearances, there is something deep within that guides and directs us, and all it is that we need to do. Very often, people will ask me to remember them in prayer, to pray for them. Very often, I will tell people I pray for them. And I feel like very oftentimes, Joel Goldsmith, when he was out with some of his students, and many people kept coming up to him saying, pray for me about this and pray for me about that and pray for me about another thing. And one of his students asked, they said, well, how do you remember all those things? I don't see you writing any of those things down. I don't see you documenting any of the prayer requests or any of those things. And Joel Goldsmith's response was, he didn't really need to. He said, because I will be with the Christ. Meaning that he would take the time to turn within, take the time to center, take the time to connect to that blessing power that we have within us to change things. And knowing that as we hear the expression that a rising tide lifts all boats, that when you and I get in touch with that inner power that is within us, we don't have to tell anybody. We can just connect with it and know that as we connect with it, as we think about others, as we encounter others, as we give thanks for others, we begin to affect and to change the situation and circumstances that we are in. So this month we've talked about imminent power, and I invite you to use your imminent power, your inner power, your blessing power to make a difference in this world, to make a difference in times like these. I think about the story that was attributed to Søren Kierkegaard, who talked about the duck preacher. And the duck preacher was the pastor of a duck church. And all of the ducks gathered on one Sunday morning and they listened to the duck preacher tell them about how they had the ability to fly and about how wonderful flight was and about all of the resources that were available to them as they flew. And if they would just take the time to flap their wings and fly, that all of the things that they could achieve and all of the things that they could experience. And all through his sermon, the ducks quacks of affirmation and quacks of amen and quacks and all of that and everything. And it was a beautiful and grand service, a beautiful and grand celebration. And then when service was over, all of the ducks walked past the preacher. They quacked their words of thankfulness to him, and they waddled back on home. The preacher too. I invite you this morning not to let your imminent power, your inner power, or your blessing power go to waste, but flap your wings and fly and bless those and be a blessing to those around you. And so it is. Infinite prosperity is mine to share. Thank you so much for your support of us through your conscious giving. We know that times can be uncertain, but you continue to support Open Heart, and it is truly appreciated. You can do so via our app, you can do so online, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292. Thanks again.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know that the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. God's work is mighty and marvelous. God increases our plans. And when we know in God we will stand, and we'll say, let it rain or shine, I will be safe in the Spirit, in a house that God built for me. Don't labor in vain, just let the Lord build a house, and don't labor in vain, except the Lord build a house, we labor that labor